Please take your seats. The session will begin in 10 minutes. Please take your seats. The session is about to begin.
And do we want to do a clearing the room one?
What if the solutions to our biggest challenges are already out there, just waiting for the right support to scale? Social innovators all over the world are creating solutions and using their voices to influence change in their communities. Women are accessing land to farm with new leasing models, boosting their earning power and resilience. Citizens are advocating for the health services they need through participatory models that give them a say in government decisions. Indigenous youth are pairing digital tools with traditional knowledge to map their land, preserve sacred sites, and monitor for deforestation. Too often, these types of promising solutions never reach their full potential for transformative change, and the best ideas don't make it to the decision-making table. Why? One key reason is that many changemakers lack the capacity, influence, and networks to grow promising solutions that can reshape systems. Lasting change happens when these solutions spread. Civic leverages the World Bank scale and influence to turn people-driven solutions into government-backed strategies.
As our commitment to action, the World Bank's Civic is planning to launch a dedicated fragility, conflict, and violence platform to bring together civil society solutions to help deliver effective development on the ground. The platform will provide catalytic grant financing, capacity building, and knowledge sharing to civil society and social innovators on the ground in the most fragile settings in critical areas like gender-based violence, social cohesion, peace building, climate fragility, and accountability and service delivery. Civic will make this possible through a dedicated funding window in our newly established multi-donor trust fund, which will enable us to work through global, regional, national, and local networks to make sure organizations on the front lines receive grant financing and linkages that effectively deliver with governments and international finance partners. Please join us in setting up the FCME platform under Civic, the Civil Society and Social Innovation Alliance.
Please welcome to the stage from Shining Hope for Communities, Kennedy O'Day.
Thank you. Since President Clinton launched AmeriCorps in 1993, this civilian service corps has helped more than 1 million Americans and find purpose and cultivate job readiness skills through countless hours of service for their fellow citizens. The following commitment makers are their own building civilian service corps and mobilizing volunteers to meet the need of their communities. They're also giving citizens, often young adults, the chance to close critical skills gaps and meet the need of their communities. Please welcome my friend Liz Fannings of Corp Africa, Richard Lipkin from Catalytic Impact Foundation, and Stella Kafka from Ecogenia. And then a team from Acacia Center for Justice. I know Shane is not here, but we'll go, oh, Shana, please come. I didn't know, yeah, yes. Shana Abdi. Thank you. Thank you so much. Core Africa is back at CGI this year with an update on their commitment to expand its successful national service model across Africa. The Pan-African Volunteer Exchange was founded to invest in the future of Africa by giving young people opportunity to foster leadership, skills, and other job readiness skills through development-driven initiatives, including building health clinics and improving access to fresh water. Thanks to Core Africa's commitment, 550 volunteers will be given the opportunity to serve a second year in another African country. And they'll continue to fundraise to expand the exchange programs across the continent. To close funding gaps for the vital health care and medical needs, including children's, women's, brain and mental health, and rare diseases, Catalytic Impact Fund is committing to grow its investment capital from $5 million to over the next 5 years. CIF will fund 60 early-stage enterprises during innovations to treat underfunded healthcare needs and improve access to care in underserved communities, starting in North America with plans to expand to other regions. By supporting innovators from research and development to deployment of treatment in the commercial market to foster founder success, this commitment has the potential to save 3 million lives and improve the health and quality of life for over 1,050,000 patients. Wow. And at CGI 2024 annual meeting, Ecogenia committed to scale its youth climate core model in 5 Greek municipalities in response to Greece's significant youth unemployment rates and climate vulnerability. Ecogenia has made exciting progress, having published the local resiliency handbook to provide municipalities with the framework for the youth service model. The program provides participants with a stipend to serve in a various role to meet national climate mandates, including sustainable forest management and trail work to support the ecotourism industry. They are also formalizing partnership with several municipalities as well as the Ministry of Environment and Energy. Ecogenia is looking ahead to future generations and recently launched an environmental education project for more than 700 children across 10 primary schools. In response to a surge of anti-migrant sentiments and detention in the United States, Acacia Center for Justice is committing to launch the Witness for Justice program to build 5 national immigrant legal responder alliance hubs. These hubs will be staffed by local community coordinators to conduct legal intake coordination, regional triage, and system navigation, and a cohort of volunteers will be trained as legal observers to identify legal rights of violations. The hubs provide a trauma-informed safe space where legal observers and education specialists work together alongside trusted grassroots organizations and community institutions to raise awareness for immigration rights and legal deserts. Okay, our next group of commitment makers is meeting critical community needs in the absence of strong governmental leadership. Please join me in welcoming the following commitment makers who are leading innovative work to fill those gaps and champion causes like democratic participation, urban environmental, and climate change, and food security. I welcome Roy Maker from Beirut Bell College. Michael Lake from Leading Cities. Oh, God. Got it. Giselle, yeah? Yes. Giselle Sebag from the National Society for Urban Health. Simon Sylvester Chadre from Civic Lab. Thank you. To bridge societal divisions and growing political polarization and disengagement from democratic values in Israel, Beit Bozah College is committing to launch the International Institute for Democratic Resilience to foster democratic engagement in young people. A cohort of 15 emerging civil leaders per year over 3 years will participate in a 10-month fellowship to design and lead a grassroots initiative to foster social cohesion and strengthen democratic values. Participants will receive mentorship and support throughout the fellowship and be required to produce a follow report to evaluate knowledge, acquisition, and outcomes. Through the fellowship civic project, the initiative aims to reach over 35,000 people across Israel to move from polarization to partnership. That's amazing. To mitigate the growing effect of the climate crisis on urban environment, CIFLab is committing to expand its community climate funds model by launching a resilience response fund. Local organizations will receive unsecured grants ranging between $10,000 to $100,000 to implement place-based, community-driven climate adaptation and resilience solutions. CIVLab works also to support green and social entrepreneurs by providing forums for brainstorming, networking, and capacity building, leading the way for the most relevant climate solutions for cities. They are also formalizing partnership with several municipalities as well as Ministry of Environment. Sorry for that. Just 1 minute. Yes, Civic Leading Cities is also targeting the impact of climate shocks on urban environments, but with a specific focus on small to mid-sized cities. Leading Cities is back at CGI with exciting progress on its commitment to connect as many as 100 underserved cities with entrepreneurs offering innovative climate solutions. Unlike the usual procurement model where startups chase cities, Bridge to Resiliency flips it. Cities apply for no-cost pilots, and startups choose where to launch. This reframes startups as partners, not vendors. Leading Cities has exceeded in its initial target of 5 pilot sites. It's currently establishing in 13 cities across 6 countries and 5 continents. Current projects include sustainable mobility, water management, and circular economy and energy resilience. In response to social disconnection, loneliness, and isolation emerging as a significant public health risk, the International Society for Urban Health is committing to pilot a resident-led, place-based framework to strengthen neighborhood cohesion, improve health, and close opportunity gaps in communities across the United States. A food security initiative in Buffalo, New York, will provide more than just access to food. It will foster community and neighborhood resilience through peer-to-peer support groups, intergenerational mentorship, and public conversational spaces. By partnering with hyper-local organizations, in this case, the Buffalo Center for Health Equity, the National Society for Urban Health will leverage their longstanding and trusted relationship with community leaders and other local institutions to foster resilience and address social determinants of health from the group up. Thank you so much for inspiring at this moment of time. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage at this time Alex Kantav, Rob Johnson, CEO of Accesso, and Cassandre Chips Rene.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's really good to be here, to be back at CGI, and to see so many of you and so many familiar faces. This session on civil society filling the gap, it's really a conversation about the role that civil society organizations in places like Haiti and around the world are doing truly having impactful and meaningful change in people's lives, particularly at a time when the public sector or government are facing significant challenges in providing critical services to populations. Many organizations in places like Haiti are really working very hard, diligently, to really respond and to filling the gap where government is not present. And in the Kellogg Foundation, we are truly pleased to be a part of that, to be working with organizations on the ground in Haiti to be able to do that. It is for that reason, a few years ago, some of you might recall, on this very stage, I think about 2.5 years ago, we launched the Pockets of Hope campaign. And again, it's a campaign to really to use Kellogg Foundation resources to encourage and leverage others to join us in supporting those impactful local initiatives. And we work particularly with local organizations that are Haitian-led, organizations that are based and grounded in their communities, and organizations that's been doing tremendous amount of work. And I'm pleased to also say we have several colleagues here from the Kellogg Foundation who's taken part of this. More importantly, we have two amazing leaders who's been a part of this work from the very beginning, from many years ago. Rob Johnson, friends and colleagues, and Cassandre Renier, who's been working with Summit Education. Rob has been working with Accesso, who's also, I think, Accesso is a member of the Clinton Foundation family. So for you, it's just, well, it's coming home for you, right?
Absolutely.
But the Kellogg Foundation has been working in Haiti since the 1940s. It's a long history of commitment. And the way we work, the way we do our work, it's before people were talking about collective impact. Our founders, Will Kidd Kellogg, created a framework after the first 11 years of the foundation. So the foundation was founded in 1930. And then what he said to the folks who were running the foundation is, how do you have meaningful impact in communities? And he came up with a formula, which is really what we are calling today the collective impact. He said to have meaningful and durable change, you need intelligent studies, collaborative planning, and group action. And this is what we are using today as what we're calling our theory of change. It's really how do you work in a community? When you're going into a community and bringing people together to work collaboratively. And what Summit's Education and Rob and Accesso are doing, which they will talk to you about, is how they're using that model to have meaningful impact in Haiti at a time when what we're hearing about Haiti is not very, we're just hearing all of the crazy things that's going on. But at the same time, there are millions of children that have to go to school every day. Women have to give birth, and they need saved quality spaces. And kids and families have to be fed every day. And that's the work that you guys are doing every day with the Summit Education, with Accesso. So I will turn it over to Rob. They can talk a little bit about what they do. So let me ask you guys, can you talk a little bit about what Summit is and what Accesso, and what makes you guys get up every day to do this work?
Thank you so much, Alex. It's a pleasure to be with you all to talk about what we are doing on the ground, how civil society organizations such as Summits and Accesso are able to keep schools running, or able to keep the system alive in this moment. As maybe some of you know, schools in Haiti are not only building, but they are the heart of certain communities. Kids come to school to learn, to eat, but also just to be kids. I am Cassandre Renier. I represent Summit Education, which is an organization, a nonprofit led in Haiti that uses a whole child approach to education. We support directly 11,000 kids in around 39 schools. However, we go beyond our network. We are a founding member of the Model School Network, which is a coalition that looks for solutions to test and scale to the persistent challenges within the education system in Haiti. And we do this for governance, we do this for quality of education, we do this for access of education. To give you an example, we've been able to adapt a literacy program that was developed by the ministry to contextualize to the students' reality where we serve. And where we serve are schools that are extremely remote, extremely vulnerable, where kids, sometimes they have to walk 45 minutes to get there. And for us, it means 1 hour up to 10 hours hiking, no access via motorcycle nor car. And so we've been able to do this with the support, with the collaboration in consortium with a lot of organizations, experts in Haiti. In 2018, we had 49 students being able to read in second grade. Last year, we are at 82%. And so we saw the impact of our work. However, in 2018, we realized that education cannot operate in a vacuum. Students, when they come to school, they need to be healthy, they need to be fed, they need to feel safe. That's when we faced the reality that we needed to provide school feeding. And so we sought partnerships. However, no major organizations would allow us to integrate our schools. And so we had Mary's Meals International that allowed us to do a pilot in 7 schools. It worked. Students' enrollment increased, student attendance increased, and the demand grew. Today, we are serving 85,000 kids a daily meal a day in around 290 schools. However, it was not enough because most of the food that we were providing was imported. So in partnership with all of our partners, in collaborations, while brainstorming, and of course, with the encouragement of our program officer, Alex, who told us, how can you increase the local goods that you are providing? We were able to pilot local beans, which we did with Accesso. It worked. So that led to a vision of how can we feed kids in our school locally using the Haitian farmers that are mainly the parents of our students. And that's how we started working with HFSA being more involved. And I know Rob is going to talk about that with Accesso to make that vision a reality. Over to you, Rob.
Awesome. It's really great to be with everybody today. And I think we're sharing a really great story about things that are working in Haiti. So excited to be on the stage and talking, and being happy to share that with everyone. We are part of the ecosystem, and we've been kind of in the same communities as Summits for many, many years. And Accesso works as a social enterprise. We work to help farmers grow more, sell more, and earn more. We think that farmers are the solution if they're given opportunity, and we think that we need to just give them that opportunity, and the rest kind of takes care of itself. So that's better seed, that's financing, that's the right types of technical assistance, and that's markets. This has worked, and it's grown year after year. Despite all of the headwinds, we've been able to connect more farmers to more markets year after year. We have roadblocks, we have gang activity, we have, you name it, gets thrown at us, and we've been able to respond. We're also a proud member of the Haiti Food Systems Alliance, which is working on tackling this because it's much bigger than just even Kassan and Summits and Accesso and even the Kellogg Foundation. How do we actually come together so that we're organized, we're talking, and we're thinking a full food system, seed to market? And we're going to talk a little bit more about kind of how we made that happen.
No, thank you so much, both of you. Early this, I'm trying to remember now, was it early this year or last year? There's so much going on in Haiti, it's almost difficult to keep track. Gangs went into Mibale. Really, that was devastating for many of us who work in that community. They went into the town outside of Port-au-Prince, basically in the central plateau of Haiti, went into the hospital, Partners in Health, Zemila Santé Hospital. Unfortunately, they did not go in, but people fled. The hospital has remained closed. I know that it will reopen soon as opportunities allow. Those are serious, serious challenges. How do you continue to do your work and to be able to innovate every day, to be able to, giving all the challenges? Difficult to travel from Port-au-Prince to Mirbalais, to the Central Plateau. How do you innovate? How do you continue to do what you do?
Well, in Haiti, systemic collapse occur every day. And so the ability to adapt, it's not an option, it's really existential. You have to constantly adapt to a new normal. And so I believe Summit Education and Accesso, the fact that we are mainly have employees based in Haiti, Haitians, but also from the communities that we serve, we are able to adapt, understand the reality, the evolving reality, and shift our strategies regularly. And so we say that we are built for resilience. When the attack occurred March 31st, it was around 9 o'clock in the morning. Our main office is based in Mirbalais. And everybody was just fleeing, had to flee. We had to close the office. The employees that were on the field, they had to flee from where they were. However, in 2 weeks after that attack, we were able to restructure our office in Hesh. And we actually took this as an opportunity to launch a whole decentralized monitoring system and oversight. And so the field employees that were, for instance, fleeing to another area, finding escape, where mainly it's where they're from or their families live there, they were able to continue to support, but in that area. And so it was more effective, more lean. We are able to respond. So this is a system that is anchored in community. We are able to adapt, and it can last.
Yeah, I would say Kassan hit it on the head. You know, why we've been able to survive and thrive even is because we're local. And so everything happened, and this was, you know, one thing on top of the next. Mirbalais was not the first bad thing that's happened in the last few years. I called our general manager, Patrick, and our deputy, and I said, what are we gonna do? And he said, we're gonna find a way. And they're from the communities, and they fight for the communities. And so I'd say that's a absolute prerequisite. I think the other thing is we have strong partners. You know, we similarly picked up the phone and said, Kassan, what are we gonna do? And that kind of, trust and relationship that takes you past. You know, we can turn to folks that are active and fighting, unlike those that, you know, may pull out. And the last thing that kind of has helped us is just this idea of being market-driven. So in good times and in bad times, people need to eat. And so farmers are continuing to produce, and schools need to feed their kids, and processors need to produce processing. And so that system is inherently resilient. Now, how do we feed that? It really takes the local teams and the kind of fighting spirit that we have.
Thank you so much. And I think sometimes people think about Haiti as there's nothing comes out of the place, right? As you were talking, both of you were talking, I'm reminded of the whole child approach. This is a particular model of education that is a child-centered model that was really developed from the experiences of the Model School Network, Summit, the Haiti Food System Alliance, that's basically saying you put the child at the center of education, and you look at the whole child. And using that model, University of Notre Dame in Indiana came up with this concept called L3s. The L3s, basically what they were seeing is the kids will come to school, but they not come ready to prepare to learn. Simply because they come in sometimes at age 5 or older without any previous schooling experience. So they're using that whole child approach to develop this model called L3. And the L3 model is really the home, Lakai in Haitian Creole, so the home, which is really the first classroom for the child, the school, right, which is where this child will then go, and then the church as an institution in every community, and use that as the basis to really educating and to improve educational outcomes for children. And that model as well was a kind of a collaborative approach. So I'm going to turn to you guys, and we don't have much time left. What is the value of collaboration for you? Why do you do it? Why do you collaborate?
Yeah, I'd say for us, it's everything. And I think we all know this. Everyone in the room knows there's not enough collaboration on the implementer side. There's not enough collaboration on the funder side. We have inefficiency. We have missed opportunities. We've been attacking that thanks to support from the Kellogg Foundation and just this fundamental view with the Haiti Food Systems Alliance, where we're intentional. We sit together. We work together. That's not free. We all have day jobs. We all have to work. And so how do we actually get in the room and talk? So when this opportunity arose, it was a phone call. It was as simple as saying, how do we activate farmers that are sending their kids to these schools and get food into a system that's already producing? We need the same to happen on the funder side. And in this case, World Central Kitchen came in and said, how do we localize this feeding? Let's do it. We had global partnerships funding the debt so that we could buy this and pay farmers on time. But we need that type of collaboration if we want to be efficient and impactful and continue to survive and thrive.
I'll just add that collaboration is our strategy. It's the only way that we can sustain what we have done and to continue to build on it.
Last question to both of you. What gives you hope, given all that's going on?
Well, this can be the foundations for Haiti's future. It works, but we can't do it alone. We need more expertise, we need more funding, more resources to sustain what we have done, because of course it has been successful, but it's not enough. 85,000 kids is not enough. And we need to sustain, show the proof of concept, and continue to scale it.
Yeah, I would say the exact same thing. I believe in Haitians, I believe in locally led solutions, I believe in this power of crazy collaboration. 85,000 is just the start. I mean, the speed at which we were able to mobilize and get 85,000 kids fed with local meals, we could do 5 times that and also make investments in infrastructure and supply chain that could pay off. So it's exciting what we can accomplish with all of these headwinds. What can we accomplish if we take some of those headwinds off?
Thank you so much. Please join me in thanking both Cassandre and Rob for this conversation. Thank you so much. I got my team, these guys are great. So thank you so much. I also want to say, so there's a prize for getting out. So on your way out, you got to pick up this little card that talks about the Pockets of Hope campaign. For funders in the room, how do you join this campaign to continue to support this amazing work that both Cassandre and Rob and others are doing? Thank you so very much for this opportunity to share with you this amazing work that these guys do every day. Thanks, guys.
Please welcome back to the stage Kennedy Odede, CEO of Shining Hope for Communities, Nancy Lindberg, CEO of David and Lucille Packard Foundation, Deidre Williams from the Open Society Foundations, and Brandon Scott, the Honorable Mayor of City of Baltimore.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much. The mayor, I see, I was going to take you to Motherland, but I think you'll stay here now. Eh? Yeah. He has to go back. Yeah, we had a plan to take him back. So anyway, we're really lucky to have great panelists. And we all agree that something's happening. The world's becoming more in balance. We are facing a lot of challenges. But I want to ask just a quick question to our panelists here. And I think I'll start with Nancy. How did we find ourselves in the situation we are now, where a lot of going on for the civil societies. We are seeing, you're saying about Haiti, what's happening, and the world is living in fear, especially young people who are doing amazing work in the communities, you know. What happened? How do you find yourself here, Nancy?
Wow. What happened? Well, let me answer it this way without being able to go to the totality of it. I mean, we've seen over the last decade globally the decline of democracy. And part of that is the decreasing trust of people in their institutions and in their government. I've spent 30 years of my life working around the world in very, very fragile government countries. And the key characteristics of those countries are what we are seeing spreading even more broadly, whether it's concentration of wealth, polarization of society, the distrust of the elites, the factionalization of the elites, and really, really importantly, lack of social cohesion. So people are at odds with one another, you've got polarization, and we are really seeing a rise of this globally. It's not a new phenomena, but it has definitely gained steam, and there is a closing of the space for civil society to operate around the world.
Thank you. Deirdre, please.
I think if I build on what Nancy said, there's a part of this for me that's about, we forgot the people. We forgot, you know, you and I sat outside talking, and one of the things you said is, we forget that the power lies with the people. And I think over time, we've spent a lot of time investing in institutions and forgetting that ordinary people experience a kind of squeeze in their ability to shelter themselves, their ability to feed their families. And when you have to have trade-offs of those very basic human rights, it means that the systems that have held us up over time are now failing us. And I think what we're seeing is the consequences of that. And that rather than find the thread of our common humanity where we can then rally together and find the solutions, we have leaders who pit us against each other. And then suddenly there is a division, and that wedge is capitalized on, and we see it in country after country after country. The playbook keeps going on. And I think that fundamentally is why we're here, because we've lost the thread that we all have a shared sense of humanity, and there is a quest for equity and equality that is fundamentally missing in this moment.
Thank you. Mayor?
Yeah, I think I couldn't agree with the ladies more. I think we have to think about those institutions, those governments, those people not understanding their responsibility. It's not just to a few, but to all. And when you have seen what's happened across the globe and you see it growing, right? You can see what we're dealing with in the U.S. right now. What you see is that people have been forgotten, whether it's by their government, whether it's by institutions and foundations, and we've also been afraid to tackle the tough issues, whether it's issues around sexism, classism, racism. Anytime it's brought up, it gets pushed aside, pushed to the back burner. And when someone does tackle those issues, surely coming behind them is someone that tries to revert that backwards very quickly. And when you see that happening, that allows folks who think power should be just centered in a small group or with one person to do these things where they pit groups against each other, where they take folks and say, this is the enemy. If you're doing better than this person, then you're okay, right? As long as you're not this kind of person, you're okay. That's what allows these things to grow and these movements to grow. And when, in fact, those people, those who are the loudest in those movements, sometimes are the folks who are being left behind by the people that they are pushing into power the most.
Wow. Honorable Mayor, to you again. And we want to be really honest, you know, we are in a safe space for sure. Yeah? There's this thing whereby politicians are so scared of civil societies, you know, and I don't understand why, you know. And I want to give an example, how you've been able to work with civil societies in your city whereby you've seen some progress. And what's the fear about?
Yeah, I think the fear of working outward, where many government, it's been about things that people don't control. But I just happen to come from a mindset of the people closest to the problem are closest to the solution, right? And for me, I just grew up in a time where just because I was young and black and poor in Baltimore, I was looked at as a problem to be solved, not something to be invested in, right? I could walk outside of my door and just be put in handcuffs simply because I was breathing while black. That didn't make my city safer. In fact, during that time frame, we had movies and TV shows being made about how unsafe my city was. So now as the mayor, I'm obviously not going to do it that way because I personally know that that didn't work. That didn't stop me from having to duck bullets. That didn't stop me from having to bury friends. That didn't stop me from losing people all these many years. So we're now doing it a different way, where we're inviting the community in to be a part of our comprehensive violence prevention strategy, where we're working with community groups to help us identify the folks who are the most likely to be the victim or perpetrator of that gun violence and give them resources, right? And say, we can give you a job, we can give you a training, we can relocate you. But if you don't take this handout that is coming directly from the mayor via a letter, then we will remove you via law enforcement. And the numbers speak for themselves. As we're talking today, Baltimore has another 30% reduction in homicides. We have the fewest homicides through this date on record of any year because we're working directly with the people in the community.
Thank you. So Nancy, what do you see as a common threat to civic engagement and participation worldwide today, as you see now? Yeah.
The common threads
Yes.
around civil society?
Yes.
I think the common thread is that civil society is being squeezed. Their rights are being undercut. We see this in almost all the countries around the world where we work, including this one, where freedom of speech, freedom of assembly are challenged often. Most importantly, we see leaders and the members of those organizations often being harassed by authorities, being doxxed. They fear for their physical security. And so at the Packard Foundation, we actually have laid on an additional set of offerings for all of our partners, and it's true globally, because they need different supports. So we've set up resilience hubs in all the countries so that they can access legal assistance, crisis communications, physical and cybersecurity assistance. You know, it's a hard time to really pursue a civil society mission, and it's more important than ever. So we, in addition to those resources, we've really pushed hard on long-term flexible funding so they can pivot when they need to based on the obstacles that they're encountering. So we need civil society more than ever, and we need to help civil society organizations navigate these new challenges that are really, we're seeing them everywhere.
Oh, wow, thank you. Deirdre, I know the Open Society has been really working a lot with the civil societies for many, many years, right? Do you see, in terms of threats, most of them are going through a lot now. Do you see any change with the past and now? Can you say that right now things have been much more difficult compared to the past? Or you have seen this coming and going? And then how will we be able to support them in this kind of moment?
Yeah, I think if I reflect on your question, do I see things, how do I see things now compared to the past? I think I want to flip the question and ask it from our perspective as how have we understood civil society in different ways in this moment as compared to how we traditionally did? I think as institutional philanthropy, part of what we've done is we've funded at the global level, and we've funded formal civil society at the global level in particular, because it's easy to reach. We've sort of supported the beast at the top, and by doing that, we've hollowed out the bottom. And those roots on the ground that really need the support, back to the question about locally rooted communities having the voice and the vision and the knowledge about what change they specifically need to make their lives different, we've lost that thread. We're starting to get it back by thinking about questions of long-term flexible funding and how we support organizations over the longer term. But the funding space is still too fragmented. And so part of what we have not been fast enough in doing as institutional philanthropy is enabling the space for civil society to take charge of their own destiny and guide and be the voice that guides us in the decisions that we make. And so in my organization, Open Society, with the program that I lead, part of what we're doing in this moment is really being intentional, saying, what are we hearing from the field? And a big part of what we're hearing is the funding is fragmented, and because it's fragmented, we cannot plan and strategize over the long term. And so for us, it's more than long-term flexible funding. It's how do we support spaces so that people can actually come together, strategize, plan over the long term, form new alliances, find new partners, so that the change that needs to happen can actually take hold in different constellations than we might have imagined.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, because as you say that, I see things happening around, and comparing it to my country and the work I do, I realize that right now there is a moment whereby people feel like you're on the right side, and there's no talking to each other, right? I wonder if we should start thinking of ways of engaging civil society to talk to each other, right? Because, as you know, there are some other groups that are also doing the opposite, right? And there's a gap there whereby no one wants to talk to each other. What do you think about that?
Listen, we have to figure out ways to work together, especially when folks are trying to accomplish similar goals. And I think that when you think about this world that we live in right now, that is very divisive. And when you think about especially organizations that are trying to push issues, this is not the time for infighting. This is not the time for fighting over crumbs, because quite frankly, all the money is being cut off, right? And we have to really be strategic in our efforts. And that's going to require a lot of ego checking. That's going to require a lot of folks to do a lot of deep soul searching about whether they're actually in this work for the people or the prestige of being in the work. And I think that we cannot come out of this moment that we're in not in a more tight-knit, because there's no hiding. There's no running away. None of us are safe, right? And we have to work together to, again, show that the power really is with the people, and the power is with the people who want to do the right thing for the right reasons. And that interconnectedness is something that I think that we should be really focusing on in this moment.
Kenny, can I?
Please, Nancy.
I think you got some applause coming. I just want to add on to Deirdre's really important point, because the hopeful piece of that is that over the last 2 years, there has been a concerted effort among both the philanthropies and it was a multi-donor effort to increase the amount of international funding that went to local organizations. Including USAID really took it seriously and moved the needle for the first time after lots of years of thinking about it. And so in the philanthropic world, we had some pretty big shifts with a number of foundations, making a pledge of 25% of their spend going to local organizations, and many of us exceeding that. We're up to almost 50% of our international funding goes directly to local organizations. And we all know how important that is. We don't seek to do 100% because I think there is real value for local organizations to be in an international ecosystem for sharing ideas, being allies with one another. I mean, so you do need that broader ecosystem, but I think there's been progress. You're absolutely right, but I do take hope that I don't think we're gonna walk away from that progress, especially now.
Wow, Nancy, that's amazing. And now let's move to something that is now hopeful, right? As you see the world, what's happening, what gives you hope? What is the hope? Will the world be a better place? As someone who grew up in a slum, and I saw a lot of challenges, but I bought one soccer ball, and I was able to form the movement. I was telling Dira the story, whereby I believe in the people. And as you said, I think we didn't learn from COVID. We left localizations, and yet they're the one dealing with the issue on the ground. So for me, my hope is that we can go back to the ground. Mayor.
What makes me hopeful is that with all the insanity in the world, you can see people are really coming together. You can see people are banding together. You can see unions being formed to fight for people's rights. Basic human decency is now coming back into the forefront, and we have to continue to do that. But I think what also gives me hope is that there are so many leaders here in the U.S. and across the world globally who want to be the opposite of what we're seeing in so many cases. And now our job is to really make sure that we're aligned with the people and that our power is with them and that we have the support in every single space that we're in. And again, those unions between foundation and government, between foundation and community, people have to be more united, because when you see the organization of the folks who are doing things for evil, right, we have to understand that we have to be just as organized, if not even more organized, if we're going to combat all the things that are happening in order to press us in a way forward to be able to realize what's righteous for folks.
Thank you. Do you want to give us some hope?
What gives me hope is young people. And I say that as someone who's in the second half of my life. When I look around the world at the young people of Kenya, the young people of Indonesia, the young people of Bangladesh, the young people of Nepal, they are clear that the world that they want to inherit is a different world than the world that they exist in. And they are clear that their leaders have failed them. And they are clear that if we are to move forward and bring into being the powerful imaginations of the world that is possible, that we have to do things differently and that change needs to happen now. And that drive and that urgency and that fierceness of the now that they feel is very fueling for me. And I think the other part of what it inspires to me is a need for us to think about how we then harness this energy and think about what does it go into? How do we use it in a constructive way to create democracies that are even more powerful, that are reimagined, where we move past the polarization and start seeing our sense of shared humanity? That's what gives me hope.
Wow, thank you. Nancy?
Well, I would ditto everything that's been said. I would pull out three things. One is, a lot of the systems that are falling apart right now or have been destroyed already needed some kind of renovation. And so this is this powerful moment of reimagination. It gives me hope that I think people are poised, are organizing, there's momentum to figuring out what does that look like. So I wish it hadn't been done in the way that it was, but there's a great opportunity. That's number one. Number two is, I've spent most of my life in really difficult places, and there are always amazing people. The resilience of human nature, the determination of the human spirit, I think will continue to buoy all of us, to move all of us forward. And then third is the power of local action. And you see it at the community level, you see it in Mayor Scott, you see it that even when there may be difficult things happening at a national level, at local levels, at the community levels, people continue to organize and continue to work towards a better world through their action. And so, and by the way, this week, you've got people from all around the world who are absolutely dedicated to making the world a better place, who have come together. I mean, we should all, even in the crowds and the crazy, we should feel really optimistic that so many people came together this week.
Thank you. Well, this really gives me hope, because what we are doing, all of you are doing here, is amazing. And I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And we also gotten from this discussion is that we should not give up. And power belongs to the people. We have to go back to the community. We have to keep on organizing and speaking up, not giving up. Yeah. So everyone, please give my panelists a clap for amazing work. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us today. We ask that you clear the room as we prepare for the next session.